Hey, how's it going, DOCasts members? Welcome to another episode of DOCasts. In this episode, we're going to cover the awesome and simple to use VestaCP or Vista Control Panel. To get more information about what Vista Control Panel is or VestaCP is, go to VestaCP.com. You'll see a page that looks much like this one if they haven't updated their UI by the time you're watching this video. At the time of the recording, this is what the VestaCP or Vista Control Panel looks like. It's currently not yet in version 1, so we got a 0.9 point something version right now, and we'll take a look at the roadmap in just a second. But this is basically what VestaCP is going to look like, and as you can see, it's very user friendly, very intuitive, and simple to use. So if you're going to be installing this for a client, or maybe you're installing this for yourself, and maybe you're going to be doing some hosting on the side, or just for personal use, whether you're going to be hosting your own websites on this, VestaCP is a very, very easy to use alternative to something like the commercially distributed cPanel. So if you're familiar with cPanel, I'm sure VestaCP is going to be an easy transition for you. So let's go ahead and talk about installing this in this first video covering VestaCP. If you scroll to the top and click on install, it'll take you down to the install area, where you see that to get this installed, you only have to run 3 commands here. And the first one is connecting as the root user on your server. Then we're going to run this curl command to get the shell script, and we're going to use bash to install it. Now, once you run this third command, keep in mind this is going to take a bit, somewhere between 5 to 15 minutes to get everything installed. So go ahead and grab a cup of coffee while it's doing this, or start doing some other tasks, like watching another DOCast episode. I don't know. Choose your poison, I guess. But these are the currently supported operating systems. I'm sure they'll go ahead and they'll add some more in the future, but this is currently what's covered. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it installed on an Ubuntu system. So Ubuntu 14.04 is going to be probably the droplet that we're going to go ahead and get this installed on. And if you want to take a look at the documentation, feel free to do so. Just click on this documentation link and it'll take you to the documentation area. And then if you want support, you can receive it through a ticket system. And you can buy some basic packages here if you go ahead and you purchase these tech support packages, especially if you're going to be serious about using VestaCP. You're definitely, as a company, probably going to want to jump on this. And from what I hear, the contact us, if you go ahead and you contact them via email, they respond to you very quickly. So go ahead, and if you have a question or something like that, submit an email. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you, as it states clearly right here. But they do have a forum, so if you're looking to get and be a part of the community, you can jump on the forum, or you can go to their GitHub page, which is accessible at the bottom of their website here. If you click on this little GitHub link right here, it'll take you to this page, and you can go ahead and you can take a look at the open source of VestaCP and just take a look at how it was built. And this is actually pretty interesting just to see how a control panel of this sorts is built. So definitely take a look. If you're looking to help out with VestaCP in any ways in terms of development, you can go ahead and you can report issues, and you can even pull the GitHub repository and either work on it or just take a look at the repository there. But for this video, all we're going to do is we're going to cover installing it and some other things that you may want to consider depending on what your uses for VestaC will be. So let's go ahead and jump into DigitalOcean to get a droplet going and get VestaCP installed on a droplet. All right, so I'll jump over to DigitalOcean, and for the host name, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll put VestaCP. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose a size. Now, there's a couple things you want to consider when installing VestaCP. The first one is it's not yet a version 1. So if we jump back into VestaCP here and take a look at the roadmap or the version history, actually, you'll see that currently it's version 0.9.8-9. So we're not yet a 0.1. And now some people may consider this a non-production ready application, just because a version 1 would mean that the application is solid and ready to go. Now, some people might go ahead and just start using it, but this is definitely one thing to consider. And once version 1 comes out, I definitely recommend, if you install it now, to go ahead and upgrade to version 1 as soon as it comes out. But with that said, let's just go ahead and get this thing installed. We'll go back into DigitalOcean. Now, when we consider size, we want to consider what we're going to be using it for. if we're going to be using it to go ahead and do some hosting for some clients, and we're going to do all that hosting on one server, you're probably going to want a bigger server, and thus it's going to cost a little bit more. But of course, you're going to have all those clients on one server, and you're going to be able to manage everything in one place, because you're going to have your administrator account, and then you can go ahead and give user accounts with different packages to different clients. Now, another thing you may consider is just getting this installed on a droplet, and then in the future what you're going to do is you're just going to start up a droplet for each and every client that you have. That way each client has their own droplet with their own websites on it. Now, if you're going to be doing that, what I would say or recommend doing is getting a droplet started, maybe this 1 gigabyte one right here, which is a somewhat small server, especially to VestaCP. And when you start a small server like this, VestaCP won't actually install an antivirus or anti-spam application that will run in the background to go ahead and cater towards the email. Because anytime you consider getting emails to your server, you're going to want to get some kind of antivirus or anti-spam. And the reason for that is because there's many times where you'll get a spam email that has an attachment that could be a virus that could ultimately hurt your server and hurt your client relationships, so your business relationships if you're serving other people. Well, a small droplet is anything less than 3 gigabytes of RAM. So if you take a look at the documentation here, and we'll move in the documentation, and we'll take a look at install clam AV and spam assassin. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. So this tutorial is created for servers with less than 3 gigabytes of RAM. On big servers, the installation is fully automatic. So VestaCP during the installation will go ahead and it'll recognize that, hey, it needs to install this if it's a big server. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's use a 1 gigabyte here. And with this 1 gigabyte, I'll go ahead and I'll jump into the documentation in a future video to get Clam AV and Spam Assassin installed. So we'll go ahead and we'll choose a region. Then we choose Ubuntu and the 14.04. We'll go ahead and we'll use a SSH key. And then we'll go ahead and get this installed. Keep in mind, if you're using an SSH key, you won't get a root password emailed to you. But if you do not choose one, keep an eye out for your email to get your root password. Alright, so our VestaCP droplet is installed. Let's go ahead and jump on with the IP address here. I'll go ahead and I'll copy this, jump into terminal or my command line here, and I will SSH into root. Now we're going to go ahead and run that curl command to get VestaCP installed. Now keep in mind, you want to run this on a brand new droplet because VestaCP is going to go ahead and install all of its dependencies on its own and get everything that it needs, so you don't want to have any other conflicting applications on there. So let's go ahead and grab that curl command. We'll just paste that in here, press enter, and then we'll run the bash command here to get everything installed. Alright, so as you can see, Vista Control Panel is going to install the Nginx front-end web server, Apache application web server, the Bind DNS server, we have a mail server, IMAP, and POP3 server. We have MySQL database server and an FTP client or FTP server that we can hook up our FTP clients to and get our files onto the server via FTP. All you have to do here is now you choose yes or no to get this installed. So I'll type out Y on my keyboard and I'll press enter. Now we're going to enter in a valid email address, your VestaCP administrative privileges, your login, via this email address. So go ahead and make sure you have that in correctly and then press enter. We're going to enter in a host name and I'll just leave it as VestaCP and I'll press enter here. Now installation, it's telling you it will take about 15 minutes. Now this depends on how fast your server runs all of these installation scripts and installs all of these applications in the back end. But I'll go ahead and I'll pause this video as it runs its installation, and then we'll jump on right after that. So the installation only took a couple of minutes here, and what we'll do now is, now that VestaCP went ahead and installed everything for us, which is super convenient, we can go to this web address here. Then we can type in admin with the randomly generated password here, and we can log into VestaCP and get everything up and running. So let's check it out. If we go to that web address, I'll open up a new tab here. I'll paste in the web address that I received from the installation instructions, and I'll just go ahead and I'll continue with this, and then I'll just type in the the password that it gave us. So let's see. Username admin and the password. Alright, so we are now logged into our VestaCP as the administrator, so the system administrator. Now you can go ahead and you can browse through the packages area, IP, graph, statistic, logs, services, updates. You got web, DNS, mail, databases here, cron jobs, backups. All of this is really exciting and ready to use. I've had the privilege of going ahead and using it for a while, and I've just found it just a pleasure to use. So I look forward to covering more information in the upcoming episodes on VestaCP. But now that you have it installed, go ahead and take a look around. Visit the Vista Control Panel website. Take a look at some documentation. Again, like I said in an upcoming video, we'll go ahead and we'll cover the installation of ClamAV and Spam Assassin on these smaller droplets here. But again, if you have a bigger server that you're going to be using just to support your clients on one server, then you won't have to install ClamAV and Spam Assassin manually. It'll go ahead and it'll install all of that for you. So look forward to you joining me in the upcoming VestaCP videos. And thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.